Hello, this is Andrew Erickson with Physician Practice Specialist. I just want to walk you through a quick tutorial on using the CMS fee schedule tool. It's located on their website at cms.gov. You can see it here. It's a valuable link to maybe save in your bookmarks or just to have in your email or something. So I would encourage you to visit here at some point and just play around a little bit with it. Maybe build your top 20 CPT codes and find the appropriate Medicare reimbursement based on your region. So let's go ahead and get started. Basically, you just click Start Search, and if you haven't been here, like I was just here, so if you haven't been here, it will actually ask you for to accept, and this says a little disclaimer. But basically, here is the search criteria that can be used to, where you can pull the price information based on your CPT code and based on your region. So what I did here was I just have some E&M codes and new patient, established patient E&M codes, and a radiation treatment delivery code, so I can show you the difference on the technical and professional side. It sometimes would be useful to maybe look at RVUs, but most of the time you're going to be looking at price information, and if you have one code, you just pick one. If you have a list, if you want to do a range, you can do that. So what we're going to do is we'll just, like I said, pull a few E&M codes and one radiation code. Okay, so we're going to select all modifiers so I can show you the different ones, and then for this we're going to select specific locality, and for this we're going to let's look at South Florida, specifically Miami. Okay, here's Miami, so that's region 204 in the state of Florida. And if you see things like rest of Florida or rest of Georgia, basically the large metropolitan areas, they have their own separate designation within Medicare because of the higher cost of living and just the cost of doing business. Same thing like with Atlanta. But if you're not in that area that's carved out by Medicare, then it's basically going to be the rest of the state. You're going to fall in that category. And unfortunately for the rest of the state, the reimbursements are a little bit lower than in some of these areas here, like Fort Lauderdale, Miami. But they look at things like malpractice cost and the cost of doing business, so it should be kind of on par with the actual cost, although there are some exceptions. So anyways, for this we're going to look at, like I said, Miami. We're going to click Submit. Okay, and so now we have, you can see up here, you can actually still change if you wanted to update the codes. As long as you don't change this information here, you can update the codes without going back to that previous screen. So let's look at this real quick. So we have we have some office visits, and you have the locale words that we selected, which is 204. You have your facility and non-facility price. Okay, so for the E&M codes, we're going to be looking at the non-facility price except for this hospital code, and that's going to be, and which is why it's the same for both. I just wanted to kind of show you that. So on the E&M side here, you have the facility price, which is going to be in the inpatient setting, is what you would be reimbursed. So that's important to know. And then you have your outpatient reimbursement here, which is most of what you're going to be doing if you're in private practice, unless you're a hospital-based physician. So that's pretty straightforward. You have more information kind of down here, but typically you're not going to be looking at much of that. The conversion factor sometimes is nice to know, but that's only if you're really doing some detailed reporting and comparing different years and things like that. So here's the radiation code, and I just want to show you this, how it would look if you had something that was split up between a technical and professional and a global fee. So you have your, and this is outpatient based only. So here, I mean, they do it, a hospital can own it and build the code, but basically there's, you see here, there's one fee. So you have your global, which includes the technical and professional. So if a cancer center was billing globally, let's say they employ a radiation oncologist, they would bill globally and then pay their radiation oncologist whatever the salary is, and sometimes they contract out the professional component, and this is what kind of the radiation oncologist portion is. Here's where the technical fee is. And the technical fee for this particular code is much higher because the cost of the equipment, how many people are involved. You have a physicist, and you've got, I mean, the equipment alone is in the millions. So the technical side is much higher here. But for most of when you're in private practice and you, let's say you buy a CT, a CT or maybe an MRI machine or something, you would typically bill globally and then work out some kind of fee with your radiologist to pay him or her a flat fee per read, or maybe you employ a part-time radiologist or full-time if you're busy enough. But this will show you within the code, if you want to look up your CAT scan code, this will show you how the money is kind of split up between the two. So that's very useful, and definitely something that you should consider looking. And just to show you what I was talking about as far as changing this up here, so what I'll do is I'll update a code. I'll add a CT of the abdomen, and maybe a CT of the pelvis. How about we do that? Okay, and you just click update results, and as long as you don't change this other information, then it won't kind of reset things. But so I added these two codes. You can see here the professional for the CT of the pelvis, which is, you can see here, CT of pelvis with and without dye. The professional component is only $63. Okay, the technical component is $264. The professional, or the global, is $331. So that would give you an idea of, when you're contracting out services for imaging, how you need to split the fee. And I use that term loosely, but what kind of compensation range you need to come up with to make your radiologist whole. And the same thing here with the CT abdomen and pelvis. You can see the technical component, the global, and the professional. So that's pretty much it. If you do want to change something, you can update the codes or anything like that. If you wanted to change to a previous year, it will basically reset a few things. So you need to go back in and select the area. What we'll do is we'll just go back and we'll look at, just to compare one code. We'll see what the difference is in the rest of Florida. So we see here 99214 is $115 in Miami, and let's just see what it is in the rest of Florida. Wow, it's actually $10 less. Wow. Or no, $7 left. So everything's quite a bit lower. This was $370, I think. That was $330. You can see everything dropped down. I want to say it's roughly, I think it's about 5% or something like that. 5 to 6%. Some codes it's lower, some codes it's a little bit higher, but for the most part it's around. But so that just shows you within different areas of the state, wherever you are living, there is a difference, and you can't just assume that, oh, I'm in region 99, which is the rest of Florida, when you may be considered in Fort Lauderdale. So you need to look at the actual zip codes of where your practice is located to determine exactly what region you fall in. I'll just show you real quick where to find the information on your region in case you're unsure exactly where you fall. Let's say in Atlanta, maybe you're in Alpharetta. Well, is that in Atlanta or is that considered the rest of Georgia? So what you would want to do is, I believe if you go back to documentation files, carrier specific files, that's not actually what I want. So where we will go is actually just back to Medicare and kind of start over and just go to type in carrier. Here it is. Okay, so if we're here and we're on the physician fee schedule, under the physician's fee schedule, you'll see all of these options, which is where I was trying to get to. And here is where actually we want to go: the Medicare PFS locality configuration. So that's something that you should maybe save. Basically, you would download this, counties including 2012 localities. You'd unzip it, and basically what it gives you is a spreadsheet. And so what we'll look at is we'll just open up the spreadsheet. Here it is, and within it you have each state, the locality of that state, and what counties are included in it. So it's pretty easy to kind of see that, okay, well, I have if you're in New Orleans and outside of these 4 counties, then you're considered the rest of the state. And if you notice, some of the states, smaller states in terms of population size, are just statewide. They don't have a separate locality. But something like, where you have Chicago here, you have a suburban Chicago, and you have Chicago. So there's quite a bit of difference, and this is definitely something that you should look at if you're not sure where you're at in terms of Medicare locality. So I hope this video was helpful. Feel free to comment and ask any questions. Thanks.